Om Yogis, welcome to a practice today with the earth. Let's begin seated. We're going to take a hand mudra called Bu Mudra, where we make an inverted V shape. So make like a peace sign with your fingers and then turn your fingers towards the floor with your first two fingers. And then we're going to curl the pinky and the ring fingers in and seal that with your thumbs. You can bring your fingers to the ground or to your thighs, and this mudra helps us to ground, to connect, and to stabilize. Also to release. So sitting in this mudra, just let yourself arrive in your practice. Feel your sit bones heavy. Anything that can go, that doesn't really belong here, the things of the day, just let them filter out now through your extended arms and fingers. Give them over to the earth. And from the groundedness in your seat, extend your spine. Let your head float at the top of your spine. We're lengthening the arms here, these beautiful appendages that extend out from the heart. So much of, our heart is intrinsically connected to the earth through electromagnetic fields of energy. So let's drop the mind into the heart. And see if you can drop your heart into the earth, down through your seat, feeling yourself super grounded here. I like to imagine thick, heavy cords of rope, like fisherman's rope, this kind of rope that you can't get your hands around, attached to any body parts that are in contact with the floor. And these long cords of rope reach down into the earth, down into the earth, and attached to those cords is a huge rock or a boulder or a crystal that's anchoring you down, or anchoring me down. So breathe down those heavy ropes into your crystal, into your stone, your rock, into those grounding rocks that anchor you deep into the earth. And let them heavy you as you exhale. And from this, inhale and feel your heart more buoyant. Your heart is lighter for your connection to the earth. As you exhale into the earth, anything that needs to go, let it go. And as you inhale, feel the energy of the earth connecting to your heart, opening and lightening your chest. Beautiful. Now rub your hands together and let's generate some heat. So through the earth, into your heart, down your arms and into your hands. Let's generate a ton of heat, almost like the core of the earth is between your hands. You're rubbing them so hard. And then place your hands on whatever needs healing. Whatever might feel a bit iffy today in your earth body, place your hands there. Feel the heat of the earth's core that you generated between your hands, placed upon your earth body. And let's do that again, rubbing the hands together. And then placing them wherever needs healing, wherever feels a little bit tight, a little bit tricky. Wherever there is tension that's been held in the body. superfluous tension. I'd like to do a class on superfluous tension one day, the tension that we don't need. Big exhale out through the mouth and let that go as best you can. And now rub the hands together one more time. Generate that heat from the core of the earth, coming up through the earth, through your heart, through your arms, into your hands, and then place it on the body. And feel the body respond to the heat in the hands. Feel the breath respond. Gorgeous. Okay. So let's turn the palms now, so your fingers sort of face you. And we're going to place the palms on the floor in front of you, one hand at a time. So just take one of your hands, place the palm on the floor so the fingers are facing you, and stretch into your arms, your forearms, and your hands. And just feel into these areas that are so used and so often get neglected. Use your breath to facilitate more space. And use your exhale to release any superfluous tension, those places where you hold away from the earth, where you hold away from the embrace of the mother. It's a funny human trait to not relax into the body or to not relax into the earth, is to not relax into our home. So as you exhale now, feel yourself relax more into your home, the home of the body and the home of the earth. And then switch your hands. Come home into your hands. Opening these channels, these energetic channels in the hands, in the forearms, and the wrists. With your inhale. With your exhale, relax where possible. Release that superfluous tension. Let it go. Go home. Go home. Lovely. We're going to switch the hands again, so come back to the other hand. And this time do exactly the same movement, but bring the back of your hand to the ground. So your fingers face in, the backs of your hands come to the ground. I love to stretch into this area of the body because it's an area that we're using all of the time. But it's quite hard to kind of find the stretches to get into it. And when you do, you really feel that, oh yeah, my body really needs this. Let's swap the hands and do it on the other side. Use your breath to facilitate space. Space through the channels of the hands and the wrists and the forearms. When we create space in the body, we create sort of heaven on earth. Heaven and earth kind of unite. So let's do that with the breath. Trying to release any superfluous tension, any tension that might be held in the shoulders, the neck, the jaw, the chest. Beautiful. Now let's interlace your hands. Give them a little shake out if you like. And interlace your hands and push your palms ahead of you at eye level, but away from you. Without creating any superfluous tension in the shoulders, the eyes, the face, the jaw. Stretching through the arms and hands. Now keep that interlaced, bend the elbows and turn your palms towards you and then away from you again. So you're doing the same move but the really awkward way. And find those big spaces that you can breathe into and open up with your breath. Open up the spaces in your forearms and the spaces in your wrists. And as we do this, we're opening up that ability to express and extend out from the heart. So through the human body, we're always receiving the earth into the heart. And as we express that out, we can kind of become sort of little walking human vessels for the love and the compassion of Mother Earth. Very, very beautiful. Lovely. Let's shake out the hands now. And just hold your forearm with one hand and move your fingers. And you can feel the movement of the tendons as you move your fingers. These tendons get quite easily jammed up when we don't stretch them. And when we do stretch them, we create a ton of energetic space for the heart to express itself. So we can touch and hold the things that we love. So we can push away the things that we don't love so much when we need to. And the tendons in the forearms really facilitate this intricate movement of the fingers and the hands. So swap your arms and do that on the other side. And just feel how your hands extend into your forearms. They don't start with the hands, they start in the forearms. Forearms connect to the upper arms and upper arms connect to the shoulders. And all of this connects into the heart. And the heart connects to the earth. Okay, let's take one hand out as if we're going to stop traffic. And just use the opposite hand to pull the fingers towards you. So we're being really, really thorough now with the hands. And we know why we're doing this. So we can open up those channels and express the heart out. And express the earth out. And now swap that over, because the earth has this unique heart vibration. And you have to look out of our windows and we see it's so full of life and so full of love. And the hands and the fingers are intimately connected to the heart, and the heart connects to the earth. So let's release that and take that Bu Mudra again. As the fingers move down towards the earth. So we're going to make that peace sign, that V shape, turn it over, seal the remaining fingers with the thumb. Lovely, and point the fingers to the earth, maybe even put them on the earth. And as the fingers move down towards the earth, feel the spine lengthen. Breathe into the earth and out from the earth. And now through your seat, breathe up the earth, through your spine to the top of your head. All of that love and all of that life coming into the body. And breathe out through the spine, into the sit bones. Connect to the ropes and the rocks that anchor you into that heavy cord of fisherman's rope with a big crystal or rock attached to it that sits in the center of the earth. Connect to that. So we're super grounding, and as we ground, the heart lightens, because the heart loves this. It's intricately connected to our Mother Earth. And as we said, the hands connect to the forearms, forearms connect to the upper arms connect to the shoulders. So we're going to add on, we're going to go into the shoulders now. Making that space, that same kind of space in the shoulders, hopefully. And as we move into the shoulders, we're looking for the most part for an external rotation, because this creates the most space in the body, in this area of the body, for movement. So let's lift the arms to shoulder height with the palms down. Keeping the palms down, notice how it feels to lift the arms above shoulder height. So the arms come out to the side and maybe up above the head, but we can feel the shoulder head feels a little bit jammy, a little bit joined up. It's not so easy. So now bring the arms back to shoulder height. Turn your palms up and lift your hands up and over your head and experience the difference in that kind of range of movement. So we're turning the palms, lifting the hands, and then turning them back towards the ground and releasing them. Now as we lift the palms towards the hands, feel how your upper arm moves out and away from the body. This is external rotation. And as we externally rotate the upper arm, it works beautifully with the scapula. It allows the scapula to glide against the back. Just get this feeling of external rotation, you guys, of the upper arms rolling out as you lift the arms. Know that this creates more space in the energetic channels through the shoulders that are directly connected to the heart. And keep that feeling of external rotation as we kind of sit on a blanket that's get about 4 inches away from the wall. So just prop yourself up on a blanket, give yourself a little bit more height. And now we're going to concentrate on the shoulder heads, which are the part of the shoulders that if you just tap the tops of your shoulders, this is what I'm talking about, shoulder heads. We're going to lift the shoulder heads up towards the ears, send them back behind you, and let them go down into the back. So we're doing this circular movement, we're rolling the shoulders, and we're moving the entire shoulder complex. I love how this area is called the complex because it's such a complicated area of the body. The shoulders carry so much of that superfluous tension. So as you exhale, release some of this tension into the earth as best you can. Beautiful. Now change the direction. So we're moving in the other way. Coordinate the breath with the movement. So let the movement come from the breath, creating space. And then when you're ready, sit still. Just come to stillness. Now get a sense of where your shoulder blades sit against your back. If we use a computer quite often or we're leaning forward, the shoulder blades tend to move away from the spine. But if we gently lift the heart, so if we ground through the sit bones, let the heart become more buoyant and lighter, you'll feel how this lifting of the heart welcomes the shoulder blades back into the body. The blades are like this awkward relative, really. They take a bit of coaxing to get them into the house. It's like they like to sit away from the spine because of the nature of the work that most of us do when we're hunching over. And we're going to gently try to encourage them home into the earth body, towards the heart, towards the earth. Now just to add on to this, let's place 2 blocks behind each of your shoulder blades at the low level. You might need to adjust a little bit so you can use your body to push the blocks into the wall so they don't fall down. And now try to use these blocks to maximize the feeling of the position of the shoulder blades. Breathing into any sticky areas. Externally rotate the arms so you can turn the palms up. Feel the upper arms moving out, away from you. So it's like your bicep is moving out. No, your tricep is moving out and your bicep is moving in and up. And as you do this, you feel yourself get wider across your chest and through your collarbones, and you can push your upper arms back towards the block a little more. It's so good for our posture and for countering all of those, I say superfluous tensions, but I'm going to say super tensions that we hold in the shoulders. Be careful not to overarch your lower back. So use that rooting feeling of the cords and the rocks through your seat, and then pull your spine up, engage your belly a little bit. You're engaging through the shoulders. You're rooting, you're opening, you're creating space for your heart and for the earth to interact as you sit still. But there's no collapsing in the body. There is some effort. But notice any super tensions, any tensions that don't need to be there. Maybe the hinge of your jaw, maybe around your eyes, maybe in your forehead. And try to let those go. So you're feeling the balance of effort and ease in the body. Look at where you work and where you release. And let's take an evenness of breath here. So we'll do a little bit of pranayama because this is like the perfect position for some pranayama here. It's a beautiful seated position. So just start to breathe in an even breath. So breathing in for the count of around 4 or maybe longer, and breathing out for the count of 4 or maybe longer. You can take that hand mudra again, so make that inverted V, sealing the other fingers with the thumb. Feeling yourself super grounded yet super buoyant. Feeling your earth body that is very, very dense, but inside of that density is all of this space that we can create. Creating heaven on earth. Beautiful. Then let's release that. Release your blocks. Lovely. And then come forward into child's pose for a moment. In child's pose, you can feel like the back door of the heart. You can allow that to get a little bit more spacious. You can take the hands into any position that creates more space in your body. And also the legs into any position that creates more space in your body. So knees can be wide or knees can be together. As we create space in the body, we create heaven on earth. Super beautiful, right? Lovely. Now let's transition through child's pose to downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, you can also feel that external rotation. You can really feel that. And as you press into your fingers, opening the channels of your hands, there's also, as the shoulders externally rotate, but the lower arms, the forearms sort of internally rotate slightly. And as you push back into the legs, you feel the wrists there's a lot of space can be created in the wrists as you push into the fingers. So we're not packing and jamming into the wrists. Deep breaths here. Lovely. And now walk your hands back to meet your feet. And just come into a nice easy forward fold here. You can shake the head no, nod the head yes. Lovely. And then making the head come up last, just bend your knees and start to roll up through your spine. Beautiful. And now we're going to stand against the wall, facing the wall. Okay, so bring your hands to waist height and turn your fingers slightly out away from the body and take your hands slightly wider than your shoulders. We're going to walk the legs back and keep the knees bent and just push into your hands until your back is somewhere towards a flat back. Keeping the knees nice and bent. and the chin is tucked in, so the spine comes into a nice long horizontal position. It's not as easy as we think, really, to get this. Externally rotate your upper arms and push the wall away from you as you inhale. As you exhale, draw the blades down the back and release a little bit. So inhale, pushing, exhale, releasing. And you should feel your shoulder blades flat to your back and gently gliding up and down along the upper back, along the upper spine. You should feel like they're just gliding up and down. And hopefully this feels nice and stable and supported. I know it's a bit awkward, but it's a really nice way to feel the shoulders into the back. Keep pressing into the hands. Keep externally rotating the shoulders. The upper arms, sorry. Keep pressing into the fingers. Really take advantage of this lovely stretch into the fingers and hands. We're exhaling and pushing. We're inhaling and releasing, I think. No, we're inhaling and pushing and exhaling and releasing. Sorry, guys. Lovely. Okay, now we can add on to this, keeping the knees bent. And just it's a bit awkward, but it's kind of nice to try something new. Let's take this into a cat-cow. As best you can, keep pushing through the arms. Keep using the hands and fingers. Now this is super good for the hands. Keep externally rotating the upper arms. Inhaling into like an open position through the chest and exhaling, curling. Use your breath to create space, even though this is awkward. Those awkward positions sometimes allow us to create a ton of space. They show us where we're really kind of jammed up. Lovely, and now release that. Just stand up and just shake it all out. And see if you can feel your earthy shoulders, these huge bones, the shoulder blades, and the bones are intrinsically connected to the earth. The bones, without muscle, the bones would just join the earth. They just go down. They would just, like we can see from any kind of skeleton, the bones stay in the earth, they move down. Yeah, see if you can feel your earth shoulders relaxing and becoming like more earthy, a little bit more approachable, a little bit less complicated, a bit less complex. And we're smoothing out this area. This area is connected to the heart, to the arms, to the fingers and the hands. And this area is the back door of the heart, really. So let's turn around and stand now with your back against the wall and take cactus arms. We're going to do like a really simple movement here. See if you can press all of your arms into the wall behind you as best you can. And notice where you might be feeling any kind of superfluous or super tension. Sometimes for me, my shoulder heads roll in, and that really affects the movement of my arms and shoulders. So see if you can keep that external rotation, collarbones nice and wide, breath nice and deep. And we're just going to let the palms of the hands fall down and come towards the wall the other way. Now most of us won't be able to get the arm all the way down back to the wall. So don't worry if it doesn't go all the way down. Just keep that shape. And then as you inhale, bring the hand back up. And as you exhale, let the hand fall down. Coordinate your breath with your movement. So there's a lot of breath there, we're creating a lot of space there. And rather than push the range of movement beyond what it wants to be, concentrate on creating more space around your shoulders with your awareness and with your breath. As you exhale and drop the hands, just see if you can let the hands relax down. And as you inhale, feel the heart enjoying that inhalation, becoming more buoyant here. This area of the body, like the hands, works so hard, we get so tense. It can be lovely to just do stuff to release the shoulders. Beautiful. Now let's just stop and shake that out. In whatever way works for you, you can just release that through your shoulders. We're going to stand side on to the wall now with your left leg forward, so it's like you're in a very narrow, easy lunge, but you don't have to bend into the knee just yet. So stand as if you're going to lunge, but nice and narrow, nice and easy. Left leg is forward and right arm is moving up the wall to about 12 o'clock. Open up your armpit here as you feel that external rotation, pressing into the hands, rotating the upper arm. And you can just stay here if this is enough for you. Or if you want a little bit more, you can just walk your fingers back to a 1 o'clock position against the wall. Retain the integrity in your shoulders in this complex area. And breathe. Counter the shoulder complex with deep, simple breathing. And you can stay here if you like, or you can add on again by bending the left knee, coming into that lunge, and try to keep the arm pushing into the wall, and try to sort of spin your chest gently so it's facing forward. Especially right side of chest will want to move in, so if you can keep right side of chest stay facing forward. And the more you push with your arm, the more you're stabilizing that shoulder. So it's not just about stretch, it's about creating an opening that is grounded and centered. And we've said this before, as we ground the body into the earth, the body naturally becomes more open. The heart center is intrinsically connected to our earth. So as we connect to the earth, the heart center starts to lift and become more buoyant. Take a couple of really beautiful deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, gently release that. And we're going to repeat that same movement on the other side. So we're taking the right leg forward into a lunge, returning side on the other way. Bringing your left arm up the wall to 12 o'clock. And it's all right to stay here. If your shoulders are tight, don't go beyond what you can do, because then we're more likely to create more tension, more super tensions in the body. And the idea today is to create space, to create heaven on earth. If you want more, you can crawl your fingers back to 1 o'clock. And you can stay here. Breathing into this complex area with simple breath. Just to counter that and balance that. Or if you want to, you can bend your right knee now. And try to keep the arm pushing into the wall, chest facing forward. Especially the left side of chest. Stabilize your shoulder. As you become more and more stable in this position, the heart becomes naturally more buoyant. Take a couple of really nice, deep and delicious breaths into this stretch. And then gently release. Shake it out, move it out, whatever you need to do. Okay, lovelies. Now let's take a plank against the wall. So bring your hands to shoulder height. So your wrists are directly under your shoulders, and walk your feet away from you. The further away from you your legs go, the harder it gets, and the lower down the wall you get. But rather than try to create challenge here, try to create integrity through the shoulder complex. So you're rotating your shoulders externally, your hands are lining up, you're pressing into the pads of the fingers, you're stretching through the hands, you're grounding into the mounds of the thumbs. And now just play around with taking your weight into one arm and then into the other arm, and feel how your shoulders respond to this. See if, try to keep that integrity. So you start to trust that your shoulders can stay in a safe place to bear your weight. Lovely. Now keep some, we don't want superfluous tension that we don't need. So nice relaxed face, nice relaxed breath, but keep your body nice and strong here. So we don't want to collapse through the lower back. So a little bit of awareness into your deep core now. As we drop one of your hands down towards a half dolphin position. So it's a bit weird. You're kind of half plank, half dolphin. And we're going to alternate left to right. The challenge in this posture is to try to keep the integrity of the shoulders as best we can. Keep the shoulders happy. Now, if this is easy to do, you can try it moving both arms together. So elbows come down towards the wall. Shoulder blades stay on the back as best you can. And it doesn't matter if your elbows don't reach the wall. Even if this movement is very small and looks more like a press up, that's absolutely fine. What we want to do is try to keep that integrity in the body, keep the earth body strong, keep the core engaged, keep a bend in the knees if you need to. Playing around with this kind of dolphin position against the wall. Lovely. Now let's release that. And we're going to just come back to standing, shake it out if you need to. And take your hands to waist height now. So it's like you're doing a chaturanga against the wall. Bending the elbows at the waist. And we're just going to bend the arms so that the forehead touches the wall. And then press away as you exhale. So inhale. Like you're doing chaturanga, forehead to the wall. Exhale, press away. Let's do this a few more times. Keeping the integrity in the shoulders, in the hands. Bend the knees if you need to. Keep the integrity through the deep core so you're not collapsing into the back. Only go as low as what works for your body. So if the forehead doesn't come to the wall, don't worry. Now as you exhale and extend away from the wall, eventually if you're comfortable enough, you can extend right into the fingertips and then come back again. So you're pushing up onto your fingertips. And maybe eventually you push through your hands and fingers until your hands leave the wall and you float for a second. And as you do this, you might want to start to tiptoe your feet backwards so that your push, your float becomes more daring. Now the challenge here is to maintain the integrity in the shoulders. Keep that strong belly. And so we get to learn to trust our shoulders, that when we push away and we fly for a moment, the shoulders can catch us safely. Take a few more like this. Keeping the blades setting into the back as best you can, keeping the collarbones open. and letting the knees be either bent or straight, whatever works for you. Gorgeous. And then come out of that and just shake on out. Let's come back to seated at the wall. Sit down on your blanket again and bring your blocks behind you to either mid or low level. We're going to take Dandasana, staff pose here. Turning the toes towards the face, pushing into the legs. Activate your legs. Lifting through the lower belly, feeling the bandhas, Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha lift up. And placing your hands on the blocks behind you. The fingers face forward. We're going to gently push the upper arms towards the wall. Allowing the blades to slide down the back a bit, or just imagine that they're sliding down into your back. Don't collapse through the lower back. Instead, stabilize your core and maybe allow for a tiny back bend of the mid-spine. Breathe deep here. We create space. We're creating space in the shoulder complex. When we create space in the earth body, we create heaven on earth. So we're letting this complicated area become more accessible, more approachable. Lovely. Now you can stay here if you like, or you can bend your knees, bringing the soles of your feet to the floor. You can push into your blocks and lift your hips to tabletop. And you can stay here, or you can exhale, lower your hips halfway, inhale, push back up. So you're either sitting still in Dandasana, you're still in tabletop, or you're moving your hips up and down as you breathe. Keeping the integrity in the shoulders. When we keep that integrity, the shoulders learn to relax. When we are relaxed with much more ease, they relax home into the earth body, training them to come home. No more super tensions. What the shoulders do is they lift away from the spine, they move away as we hunch forward, and they move away into all the worst sort of shapes. So here we're reminding the shoulders of a healthy placement through this practice. Reminding the shoulders how to come home. Beautiful. Wherever you are now, just release. And it's turn to lie on your tummy. And bring your forearms up the wall. Have your blocks nearby. Lovely. So it's like you're doing, you can imagine if the wall was the floor underneath you, it's like you're doing a forearm handstand. What a cheat. Pincha Mayurasana, I think, is the Sanskrit for that. So let's inhale now, push into your arms, open your chest. And exhale, curl your navel and sternum towards each other. Coming back down. So it's like we're similar to a cat-cow. Inhaling, opening the chest. Exhaling, curling. Working to keep that shoulder integrity. Using the fullest of breaths to create space in this complicated area. So a full, simple breath to counter the shoulder complex. To open up the energetic channels so the heart can express itself more freely. Beautiful. Now we have an option to deepen this movement if you like by placing your blocks on the low level underneath your elbows and upper arms. So just adding a block to give you a bit more height, and the blocks just make this a bigger movement. So as you inhale, you push into the arms, open the chest, and as you exhale, navel curls to sternum, and there's a lot more room to do this now. Only do it if it feels good for your body, if it creates more space in your body, if it jams your shoulder or makes you feel strange in any way. Let's just come back to the floor. Flood the shapes that you're making with a ton of breath and working to create space. We're working also to create stability. When we feel stable, we feel safe enough to create space. Beautiful. When you're ready, let's come on out of that. And gently, 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 gently press yourself back to child's pose. Again, let your child's pose be whatever it needs to be today to facilitate more space in your body. Bring that breath into the body, and I always feel like it's when we breathe, it's like we're flushing out the body with breath. We're cleansing the body. It's like we're flossing the body out. So any sticky areas, breathe there. Breathe into your stickiness, into your tightness. Create space, create heaven on earth. And you can stay here, or you can take a down dog with your hands against the wall. It might be nice to turn your hands outward towards the edges of your mat. Or it might not be for you today. Just play around with that. It might be better for you to stay in child's pose, or it might be better for you to move into down dog. Let's just create some space now. And if you like, you can come from down dog, walking the hands back and dangle forward into a fold if this helps you release those super tensions in the shoulders, super tensions in the upper arms, forearms, fingers, in these beautiful appendages that are connected to the heart, that are expressions of the heart. Deep breaths. Do whatever creates space in your body. And either from child's pose, from downward facing dog, or from forward fold, let's sit down now and take the Boo Mudra once more. So inverted V, pointed towards the floor, sealing in the remaining fingers with a thumb. You might even press the fingers into the floor, ground and feel. There's sort of two superpowers that our earth gives to us. It's this ability to feel the ground. It gives us ground. And that groundedness allows us to feel the heart's electromagnetic field so that we can connect and we can receive from the earth. So these 2 points that we're making with the fingers really express those two superpowers of the earth. And it's interesting because for me, when I was writing this practice, I was feeling that we're focusing upon two kind of complicated areas of the earth body in this practice too. The shoulders tend to lift away from the earth, they lift away from the home, they lift away from the body. And we're going to move into the hips next. The hips do the opposite thing. The shoulders move away and the hips everything gets piled into the hips. So the hips get kind of shoved down into. So it's like, in a way, the shoulders can become too light, too tense, they move too far away from us. But the hips get very heavy and very packed. So we're going to work on these two areas so that we can feel these two superpowers of the earth, the ability to ground and the ability to open the heart to the electromagnetic fields of the earth so we can connect and receive directly from her. So release the mudra now, lovelies. And let's sit into a like a box split shape, so like a straddle shape. I know we're coming straight into the hips and we haven't done anything with the hips yet, so what I would like you to do is to do less. The hips always have more to contend with than they need. They're very packed areas, so I want you to do less here. So a nice easy straddle. We're just going to bring the left foot in towards the groin. Use whatever padding you need so there's no super tensions created. We're releasing here. We're working to release. We're working to unpack the hips. You can stay here or you can fold forward. Depending on your body today, depending on what creates more space for you today, you might even want to stretch into your hands in whatever way feels good for your body. You can even go back to some of those hand stretches that we did at the start of the class. And that might create more space for your hips as you push into the earth. Do less. Notice, lovelies, if your hips start to lift away from the floor, so if they start to do what the shoulders do, you're folding too far. Keep your hips grounded. Because as we ground the hips, we can start to stretch out of them. And as we stretch out of the hips, we can start to unpack all of the junk that's been shoved there. So let them arrive too. Shoulders and hips both need to learn to arrive on this earth. Use your breath to facilitate space. Through this practice today, we are creating space through the energetic channels of the body. As we do this, we create heaven on earth. Our earth body is a paradise. Our earth is a paradise if we can only see it. Our earth body is a paradise if we can tune into it and give it what it needs. Breathing and releasing and relaxing. Beautiful. Inhale here, and let's exhale. If you're folded, come back to center. And just swap the legs, so swap sides. And we're doing the same thing on the other side. Doing a lot less now. Unpacking. Leave some room. If you do too much, there will be no space. And this creates all kinds of super tensions in the body. So create a space, lovelies, inside your home, your earth body home, that you can relax into. Keep your kneecaps and toes pointing up. Keep your extended side hip grounded. It's from this groundedness in the hips that we can kind of start to unpack all of the dumping. The weight of the body that gets dumped into the hips. Breathe deep. Beautiful. When you're ready, let's inhale here and exhale. Gently come on out of that. Lovely. Let's take Baddha Konasana now. So bring the soles of your feet together and take your diamond shape a little wider, a little further away from your body than usual to create a little bit more space than usual. So we can press the hands here behind us to open the chest a little bit. We can stay here or we can fall forward. We can do a little bit of both. We can do whatever creates this feeling of unpacking the hips. Whatever creates a feeling of release in your body, whatever facilitates more space. Use your breath to facilitate more space. Floss out your body with breath. Open up those energetic channels through your hips now. We've opened up the energetic channels through the shoulders, through the arms, through the hands. Now we're doing the same in the hips. As we create space, we realize our heaven on earth through the body. It feels good. Let this part of the practice feel super good now. Super spacious. Do less. Create a space for you to move into. Like you're trying to move back into your home. Create that space so there's room for you there. I'm thinking of when you move house. If you move house and the house hasn't been emptied, you can't get through the front door. So we need to do less so we can go in. That makes sense. Lovely. Let's inhale here. Exhale, come on out of that and keep all that ethos of doing less with us. Lie down on the back and take half happy baby. So one leg is extended towards the bottom of your mat. The other leg is in half happy baby. We're going to keep the extended leg, hip grounded so we can continue to unpack. Breathe. Floss out the body. So this area of the hips is an area that quite often gets the blues. I quite like the music at the moment. Because the hips, the pelvis, we sit down and we dump the entire body into the pelvis. And this can create, a ton of super tensions there. So don't create more tension in this pose, create less. And see if we can sort of cure those blues. Create those energetic channels through the hips with your breath. Well, create the space in those energetic channels. Flush them out. Beautiful. Let's inhale here. Exhale, swap sides. And continue with that work on the other side. Deep breaths. Into the pelvis. Release the pelvis. Release the blues. Create space. Release any super tension in the shoulders, any super tension in the face. Keep unpacking. Move into your house. Beautiful. Let's breathe in here. Breathe out. Just release that, bringing the soles of your feet to the mat. Bring your feet to the outer edges of your mat, so nice and wide. The knees are bent. And we're just going to let the feet fall to the left and then to the right, doing this kind of windscreen wiper action. Countering those kind of long held poses with a little bit of gentle movement here. Beautiful. On your next breath in, come back to center. And let's take one of your legs now, whichever leg you want to work with, as if you're going to come back into half happy baby. The other leg extends out towards the bottom of your mat. But now, instead of taking it away from the body to the side, we're going to take it into a pigeon shape, so we're drawing the foot towards the heart. Keep the foot nice and flexed so you don't compromise the knee. If this is too much, you can take sleeping pigeon here, which is the other knee bends and then you're bringing the foot to the thigh, the ankle to the thigh, sorry. And you can thread the arms and pull the leg towards you. But if you can, it's like we're taking a pigeon shape now. Lying on our backs, bringing the foot in towards the heart. Keep rooting through the bottom hip. On a good day, I might want to kind of cradle my leg like a little baby in the crook of my elbow. Whether that happens today or not, I do not know. Either way is fine. We're not really going for range of movement here, we're going for creation of space. How do we create space? We breathe, we let go, we relax. We don't buy into those super tensions, we release what we can release, but we can keep the integrity of the pose and the shape, knowing that this shape is meant to open up the energetic channels in the body. So there's this feeling of effort, but also this feeling of release where we can release. Let's inhale here and exhale, just swap sides, lovelies. And we notice the difference between the work that we did with the shoulders, which was so much of that was about maintaining integrity, and the work that we do with the hips. And although integrity is still important, we want to unpack the hips, we want to release and let go as best we can. So we do less. Remember, there's an option to take sleeping pigeon. If you did that on the other side, do the same thing, both sides, I'd recommend. Otherwise, lots of breath through that shape that is helping you to open up the energetic channels of your hips and your legs and even your feet. Keep the foot flexed so you're keeping the knees safe, and breathe. Okay, let's inhale here. Exhale, release. Lovely. And you can draw both of your knees in towards your chest. If that feels good for your body, you can rock up and down your spine from here up to seated position, then into downward facing dog, or you can rock side to side into a seated position and into downward facing dog. But we're going to meet in downward facing dog in whatever way works, and just stretch all of that out, pressing into the finger pads, pressing into the mounds of the thumbs, opening up the wrists, opening up the arms, externally rotating the shoulders. Shoulder blades are set into the back. Bend one knee and then the other. Work into your hips a little bit. Breathe deep, breathe deep, breathe deep. Lovely. And now we're going to come into a regular pigeon, if this works for your body. So just bring one of your legs, whichever leg you like, forward into that pigeon's shape and walk the other leg back. If your back hip... Oh, no, never mind, don't worry, it's fine. Sorry. You can stay upright in your pigeon. You can fold forward. You could even take that Bhuma Mudra with the inverted V shape in your hands. And do whatever feels right. If this pigeon shape creates no space and just feels like it's creating a lot of super tension in your body, let's come back to your back and take sleeping pigeon. Or, lovelies, you can just skip the pose and you can just sit. You can just ground. You can come back to whatever feels relevant for you today within this practice. Wherever you are, try to create space. As we create space, we create heaven on earth. Breathe deep. Beautiful. From here, lovelies, we're gonna, if you're in regular pigeon, you push back to downward facing dog and transition to the other side, or back to all fours and transition, whatever works. If you're in sleeping pigeon, just swap sides. If you're seated, stay seated. Less is more, lovelies. Do whatever creates space in your body. Whatever shape that your body is making right now, breathe into that shape, that asana that is designed to open up the energetic channels, that is designed to get us closer to the earth so we can pull up her energy into our heart space and express it out through our earth body. Breathe deep. Unpacking, moving into the house, moving into the earth. Beautifully, beautifully, beautifully. Press yourself back either to downward facing dog or come back to center in whatever way works. Hopefully we did our pigeon for equalish amounts of time. Lovely, and we're just going to all come to seated now. Extend your legs out in front of you. We're just going to take half Gomukhasana. So we're going to cross the thighs quite high up along the thighs, bringing whichever leg is crossed, bringing the heel towards the hip, keeping the foot nice and flexed so we can protect the integrity of the knee joint. You might want to stay here, or you might want to fold forward. Do whatever creates space in your body here, lovelies. Wherever you are, breathe deep into those energetic channels that are being opened through the asana. I know how that sounds, especially when we're working into the outer hip like this, but it is true. We're opening the asana and we're also opening the bottom part of the body. That's what we want. We want to unpack the junk there. Gorgeous. If you're folding forward, come on up and switch the legs wherever you are, keeping the foot flexed of the bent leg so you can support the knee. Stay upright or fold forward. You can take the Bhuma Mudra again if you're upright and you want to just feel that groundedness supporting the opening. Breathe deep wherever you are. And if you're sitting upright, you'll be more sort of opening up the front space of your heart through this pose. If you're folding forward, you'll be more opening up the back space of your heart through this pose. The heart is intrinsically, energetically connected to the earth. So as you connect to your own heart, you are connecting to our beautiful planet home. The body is made from the earth, so as we go into the body, we connect to the earth. Breathe deep. Create space. Connect. When you're ready, lovelies, let's inhale here. Exhale, coming out of that. You might want to extend both of your legs forward and just sort of pedal out your knees. Lovely. And then let's lie down on the back again, taking your fingertips to your frontal hip bones, to the part of your hips that stick out ahead of you. And we're going to sort of draw a figure 8 here. The soles of the feet are on the mat. We're not lifting the hips. We're more sort of gyrating the hips, allowing any excess baggage or any super tensions to leave the body. Letting the exhale become a big sigh out, lots of ease. It feels like a figure 8 that we can draw one way and then maybe switch it and draw the other way. Gorgeous. Come back to center and let's just take some pelvic tilts. So as you exhale, push your lower back into the ground, and as you inhale, gently rise your lower back away from the ground and feel your tailbone move towards the earth. A small and mighty movement. And then come to stillness, rub the hands together, coming back to where we were to begin with, rubbing the hands, bringing the heat of the earth in. The heat of the earth is coming in through all of these channels, energetic channels in the body that we open through the asana, that connect to the heart center, pull in that earthy energy into the heart center, out through the shoulders that are not so complicated now, they're a bit more accessible, into the arms, into the wrists, into the hands, rubbing the hands together, bringing the earth in. Let's place the earth, the heat of the earth onto the hands now. And feel how the body responds to this heat. How the body responds to the earth, to this grounding. How the heart opens and lightens when we ground. So nice. And from here, lovelies, let's come into Shavasana. So do whatever you need to do to make sure you'll be comfortable for the next sort of 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to do a relatively short Shavasana today because we've done so much grounding already. Shavasana is the ultimate grounding pose where we allow the bones to fall into the earth. So once you find your Shavasana, you find that nice equal sort of feeling in the body of symmetry, as best symmetry that we can find in the body. Let's start to roll out the appendages that do so much for the body. So roll out the hips, roll out the shoulders, roll them in and out a little until you find this kind of really beautiful spacious opening through the shoulders and hips, through the arms and legs. Through this, the limbs can get heavier. As the limbs get heavier, the breath gets deeper, and the earth body, the trunk of the earth, gets heavier too. You can come back to that visual of the ropes, the thick fisherman's ropes that are attached to every point of contact the body has with the earth. Imagine huge rocks or crystals hanging in the center of the earth, pulling you nearer, anchoring you in. Let your bones, the bones of the pelvis, the bones of the hips, the bones of the scapula, the arms and the legs, heavy. As if there's no muscles around them, there's nothing around them, they just fall to the ground. falling into the earth. Come home into the body and the body into the earth. Relax, relax, relax. Okay, lovely. Let's begin to deepen the breath. And start to move the fingers and toes. If you want a full body stretch, you can take the arms over the head. Stretch fingers and toes away from one another. And then very gently, if you want a back body stretch, bring the knees in towards the chest, being very respectful of your lower back. You can rock a little side to side here, just massage the hips. And then just gently rock to your right side. Just take a moment with whatever feels relevant for you, whatever you'd like to take with you, take home with you after this practice. And then let's press up to a comfortable seat. Okay, lovely. So we're sitting here in the complicated areas of the hips and shoulders. Are less complicated now, hopefully. A little bit more accommodating, a little bit more accessible, helping us to sit. As we sit and we ground in a kind of meditation posture, this facilitates the heart to lighten, to open and to soften, and this softening of the heart makes singing and chanting much, well, just super beautiful, just more beautiful than usual. I thought tonight we would finish the practice by singing Om, the sound of the earth, to and from the heart, allowing that sound of Om to move through all of those open energetic channels that we have created in our practice with the earth today. If you're doing this on your own, just sing whenever, whatever comes to your heart. If you're doing this in a group, allow the Om to overlap. It's very beautiful when there is that continuous sound and that continuous vibration to sit within. It's not super tension. There's no super tension there. It's just super healing. So when you're ready, if you don't want to sing out loud, you can sing in your head. Let us begin. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Just bringing your hands to your heart now as you feel the Om moving through all of those open, energetic channels in the body, through those complicated, complex areas. Om, the sound of the earth inside the body, inside the spaces in the body, heaven on earth. Heaven on earth is accessible when we come deeply into the earth body. And we allow the earth body to come home to the earth. May your earth body be spacious. May we cease to pull away from the earth and travel towards her, opening up our energetic channels, knowing we are intrinsically connected. May we create space enough to realize our heaven on earth. May there be peace in our hearts and peace on the earth. Namaste.